Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 3Q, New Mexico's business podcast. We have weekly conversations with business owners in New Mexico, and nonprofits. Today, our guest is Tony Wasowicz. Tony is a volunteer coordinator with the Santa Fe Animal Shelter. Welcome, Tony. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me. This is my first podcast, by the way. So hope I
And
don't
Pam
screw
forgot
it
to
up.
say that Pam is the host and I'm the co-host. So I'll say that. So that's Pam Myers and I'm Erica Yoakum.
Did I just slip over that whole part?
And that's our awesome guest, Tony. So
You do the color commentary. I like it. Okay.
usually, yeah, I'm the smart ass in the group. Yeah.
Love it.
Erica keeps the conversation going.
So Tony, when we logged in, one of the first things I said is, so is your shelter posh, more posh? Because I would think, sorry, this is me saying it's Santa Fe. It's more posh than probably, Los Lunas. So tell us about your shelter.
Yes, I'd love to. And I'm not sure posh would be the perfect word, but yes, it is Santa Fe. And as you guys know, Santa Fe, thankfully, is filled with a lot of hardcore animal lovers. And that benefits us greatly. Our shelter. Let me just start with a quick introduction. Again, I'm the volunteer coordinator, but more important, kind of a cool background story. I've bounced around doing a bunch of stuff in my life. I've been an endangered species biologist. I was a winemaker in California for 25 years, organic farmer, beekeeper, all sorts of stuff. But I'm kind of a newbie to Santa Fe. I moved here just about 2.5 years ago, and I came out and didn't know a soul, didn't have a job. And I thought, well, what better way to meet people and contribute to my community, do my civic duty and such by volunteering. I love dogs, so I came out to the shelter. Right. I walked dogs as a volunteer for about 3 months. I fell in love with the place very, very quickly. When I was offered a full-time position as volunteer liaison, I snapped it up, and about a year ago, I was promoted to actual volunteer coordinator. So, and yes, we are a very special shelter. I'm totally sincere. I like to think big, and my goal is to make Santa Fe Animal Shelter the very best shelter in the entire nation. And I think if we're not, we're awful close. We're a very special shelter. We're the only no-kill shelter in northern New Mexico, which means we don't euthanize dogs for space. Every dog that comes in, we do our damnedest to find a home, a foster, an adopter. To that end, we've got a lot of great programs, and that's why I'm here today to talk about some of those. We count on volunteers to do a lot for us. The main thing in our shelter, we do have a variety of animals, but mostly it is dogs. We've got about 110, I believe, dogs right now.
Wow.
And that's down. It'll increase during the summer greatly. And each one of those dogs needs a lot of exercise, love, and enrichment, of course.
Mm-hmm. Right.
One of the very special things we do right off the bat is every single dog in the shelter gets out for exercise, either walks on our trails or play yards or dog park off-leash play at least twice a day. So right there, you're talking, right now, 220 outings every single day, 365 days a week. Dogs don't get holidays. I'm here all day, every Christmas, every Thanksgiving. But we need a lot of volunteers to pull this off. We're a nonprofit. We don't have a big staff. We don't have a ton of money, but we count on volunteers to do this, help us out with this enrichment. A couple of cool things I do definitely want to mention that you probably won't hear in a lot of shelters as far as enrichment activities. First off, really quick, enrichment. What is enrichment? Enrichment is anything that keeps the brain going. These dogs, even though we spoil them, we take them out a lot as much as possible. Still, they're essentially in a kennel. They're in doggy jail.
Right.
So we've got to keep these dogs, keep their minds active, keep them happy until we can find them a home. So some of the things we do, again, they go out twice a day for walks, play yards. We do things like treat enrichments, which involve things like stuffed Kongs. We make these stinky scent tubes for them to sniff and tear apart. Really fun stuff. They get things like popsicles, which is frozen beef juices and stuff to lick on in the summertime. They get in the play yard. Speaking of summer, we have wading pools so dogs can run around and splash in the water. We do daily music therapy. So every day after their AM walk, they get 2 hours of morning music, which has
Wow.
been scientifically proven to reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone.
Oh
So
yeah.
that will actually relax the dogs after their morning walks. We try and do daily aromatherapy. So we use essential oils like chamomile and lavender, and either spray some in the kennel or distribute in toys or towels. Again, just like humans, has been shown to soothe dogs, reduce cortisol, keep them mellow and happy. We do nose work 4 days a week, which is an amazing program. Not sure if you're familiar with nose work, but essentially it's like a scent obstacle course. So we've got a big room. Volunteers come in, they'll set up this really, really cool array of things like chairs and boxes and ladders and gates, and they'll go around and put little dabs of like, here's some peanut butter and here's some cheese under the chair and this and that. One by one, dogs come in. They spend about 20 minutes sniffing around. They smell the treats. Very enriching for dogs. Dogs live through their snouts, of course. 20 minutes of nose work. They come back to the shelter adoptions floor, and they are literally smiling and exhausted. We even go so
My
far.
boxer would have been in there for an hour lost. The German Shepherd will be done in about 3.5 minutes, right?
Right. Here's something really cool too. I just got finished with the last dog. We actually have a couple animal Reiki volunteers. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Reiki. If you're in Santa Fe, you probably are. It's one of those kind of new agey towns, but essentially it's an ancient Asian energy channeling technique and process where this lady goes in and works with animals for about 30 minutes. Sometimes lays her hands on the dog, but she can find energy blockages and find issues and try to help the dog spiritually, emotionally, energetically. So we've got a whole bunch of cool stuff. Yeah,
It sounds more like a spa than a.
we literally have what we call spa days, where we kind of combine all these things at once. Plus, dogs will get daily grooming. I've had a lot of volunteers who come in and say, "Wow, you dogs are spoiled, and I wish I lived here." In a weird
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is this thing? It's Tamaya. There is Daya.
That is so wonderful.
A lot of work and a lot of volunteers, and
yeah,
that's why I'm here, to make my pitch for getting people to come on out and check out our shelter, check out our dogs, and pitch in, help the community. It's not only great for the dogs, but it's great for the people. You get fresh air, you get exercise, you get to meet other people. There's a lot of networking that goes on here. We've got a whole cross section of people from Santa Fe coming in to volunteer. It's just a great opportunity all the way around.
yeah.
How much time does an average volunteer spend?
Good question.
Good question. Of course, there is no average volunteer, but
I meant average time, not average volunteer.
Sorry. Yeah, and I'll preface this by saying that we do have a whole bunch of volunteer opportunities. We've got not just at the shelter and working with animals, but we also have, for example, our 2 cat resale stores. Great shops, 2 in Santa Fe. Stop by. They've got a great selection of all sorts of cool stuff. All those profits go back to the shelter. They rely on volunteers to help them run. We also have a spay and neuter clinic. We've got a great program, a couple of great programs. One I want to mention is called Pet Outreach. So right now we've got, I believe, 45 different volunteers with trained dogs, assistance dogs, companion dogs, essentially. So they go around to hospitals, to nursing homes, to cancer centers, also to schools. They go to libraries. We've got a library program where they bring dogs and kids actually read to the dogs. It helps the kids. Kind of goes both ways. Again, the kids get relaxed around the dogs and they're better able to communicate and learn reading. I just read
an article about that, and the stats are amazing about how the dogs free the kid if there's no self-consciousness about reading to a dog. So they just work on their reading, and they don't care. The dog doesn't care if you say the word wrong.
Oh yeah,
right?
exactly.
If it takes 3 tries, the dog's like, "Hey, someone's talking to me. I'm a happy camper."
Right. Yes, and the dogs do undergo, both the volunteers and the dogs undergo a pretty vigorous training session. So they're all certified. So they're
Wow.
They're all very mellow dogs. They're dogs that don't mind kids jumping up on them, pulling on their fur, and squealing really loudly. Another great program is our Humane Education program, where we have Tom Alexander leads that amazing guy. He goes around the schools and gives presentations on humane education, how to treat animals. So very, very
Oh.
important. His thinking, which is just brilliant, is that let's face it, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's very difficult. But if we can reach the kids early on and show them, okay, this is how animals think. This is how they work. Here's, that dog down the street that's chained to the tree and barks at you and you're afraid of it. That dog is not an aggressive, angry, vicious dog. That dog is a fearful dog. And here's why. And here's how we can fix that. But our biggest need right now, I'm just saying that because our biggest need right now is volunteers for working with dogs. Again, it's our very, very biggest challenge. We've got 110 dogs right now. It takes a lot of effort. When you asked about average time, volunteers, dog walkers typically will walk, I'd say average on 3 to 5 dogs per session, either in the morning or afternoon. We've got some, but it varies a lot. I had a really nice gentleman come in a few months ago and said, "Hey, my doctor said I've got to do more walking." And I thought, well, if I'm going to walk, I probably should be with a dog, right? Yes, thank you. So he comes in and does one big lap with the dog and takes off. We've got volunteers who literally spend most of the day here working with the dogs and taking them out to play yards. It's hard to leave, especially.
That's right. I've
Yeah.
said that about myself. Like, I know I am like the biggest sucker for, I'd be coming home like every day going, so we could probably foster, and I know myself well enough to know that before I would even foster, I am a foster fail. That's true. I have to be I'm very much that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband, who would not probably say the same thing about himself yet, if we're at the end of a dead end street, we get a lot of dropped off dogs. I know it's terrible. And so they're wandering up and down the street. They're lost. They're confused. They're scared. The whole bit. And Tom watches them, and then he comes in. He goes, "So there's this really cute dog out there." Like, I know, baby. Let's call. We'll get him picked up. But yeah. So we're big babies here.
Yeah, we do get a lot of volunteers who come in, and it's great thinking. They say, "Hey, to be honest, we lost our dog recently. We want another dog, essentially. Like me, I can't imagine life without a dog." So people come in saying, "Okay, we're ready now to have a new dog." And we thought, well, we can go to the shelter and spend whatever an hour or two walking around at random and kind of poking our heads in kennels. And at the shelter, you can take dogs out to play yards if you're interested in fostering or adopting. But these people have a great idea. It's like, well, instead of just doing this really quick meet and greet, why don't I volunteer and actually get to know these dogs? And I can come for X number of days, weeks, whatever, meet all the dogs, take them all out, see which ones I really connect with. So we get a lot of volunteers like that. So many volunteers
That's
end up
amazing.
taking dogs home. And you mentioned our fostering. We've got a very robust foster program here. Awesome. We've got it's called New Hope.
Oh yeah.
Great foster team. It's very, very easy. Very, very make it simple for you. You can actually foster a dog for as little as overnight if you want. You can take a dog home for a weekend.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we'll set you up with whatever the dog needs. If you need a crate, as you can see in my plush office here, it is filled with crates and gates and dog stuff. We put it wherever we can, really. But yeah, we'll set you up with any kind of medication the dog needs, food, whatever. We just want to get these dogs, even if it's only a short-term foster. Yeah, we always urge potential fosters. It's like, well, this is not necessarily, you're not committing to anything. It doesn't have to be long-term. Just getting the dogs out of the shelter for even a night or two is a huge, huge thing. These dogs, again, they don't get a chance to get out as much as they can. They should. We've got a great program called Hounds Around Town, one of my favorite programs, where volunteers can actually come to the shelter, pick up their favorite dog, load them up in a car, take them into town, go for a few hours. We've got volunteers who go to a rail yard at the plaza, go for hikes, do their shopping at Home Depot. I've got a beautiful picture file of dogs getting puppuccinos at Starbucks, lapping up the whipped cream, and
Of course,
just
yeah.
adorable. And again, it gets them out of the shelter.
Right.
It gets them seen. They get a cute little adopt me vest, so when they're walking around, sometimes people actually see the dog, bond with it, and follow the people back to the shelter and adopt that dog.
Oh,
It's really cool. One of my favorite things to say is regarding hounds around town, that in Japan they actually have, some of the big cities actually have dog rental stores, so you can actually go to this store,
I
pick out a
love it.
dog, rent it for an hour or two to go out for a walk, and they charge about $25 an hour. So I'm very proud to say the Santa Fe Animal Shelter will provide that service for totally free.
Wow.
That's
So come get your
awesome.
dog. Yes.
Yeah.
Make
Can you
a dog's
imagine?
day.
And now,
Wow.
were all these programs in place for a long time, Tony, or some of them have evolved based on volunteer?
Yeah, a lot of these have evolved a lot. Yes. It kind of stems back from COVID, like everything does. When
Mhm.
COVID was here, things changed drastically. A lot of programs got shut down. A lot of things got changed. Now that we're, knock on wood, post-pandemic, if you want to call that, we're able to now kind of catch up and really turn loose all these ideas that we had before. So one of my jobs, on top of recruiting is a big thing. That's why I'm here today. But even more important than that is volunteer engagement and retention.
Mhm.
I can go out there and recruit as many volunteers, hundreds and hundreds, whatever. But if they're not going to stick around, if they're not happy, if they don't feel fulfilled, they don't feel like they're contributing, communicating, all these things, they're not going to stick around.
Right.
That's what part of these programs are about. We have we're very engaged with our volunteers. I send out weekly newsletters every Sunday, which have great information, not only reminders and tips and some instructional stuff, but reminders of events. Also, I post weekly pictures of our dog adoptions, so volunteers can go on there and see all the dogs that went that week, and we take farewell pictures in the adoptions lobby. So volunteers who have worked with the dog for maybe weeks or months, they get to see this
Aw.
picture of, and sometimes even a video of their favorite buddy going home, as we call it. It's adorable, and that's ultimately why we're here, right? We love
Right.
our dogs, and we do all this work. That's the very best feeling in the world, obviously, is when I come to work, especially if I just see it, and I see a dog out in the lobby with their new home, their forever loving home. I get to go out and meet the people and give the dog a scratch, and all right, Buster, way to go, you're out of here, good luck,
Aw.
and then turn around and head back into the adoptions floor and jump right back into it. Get all these dogs out of here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. What
That's amazing.
what is the length of time for the length of stay on average? Is there an average?
There is an average, which I want to say is about, right now, I think about 6 weeks.
Okay.
But it varies tremendously. We were talking about it off air a little bit earlier, but puppies go super quick.
Right.
You know the puppies, they're gone within 2 or 3 days. Everyone wants a puppy, right? Also, small dogs, pretty much regardless of
Mm,
age or medical condition, any kind of little chihuahuas, poodles, poms, they get swept up usually within a week.
wow. Yeah.
The toughest ones are two things. One, the medium to larger size dogs, and two is the morphology, the color of the dog. Black and brown dogs, a lot tougher to get out of here.
Really? That's like that. Just I've never understood that, but I mean I get it. But like
Yeah,
a chocolate. So if you have two labs, one's a yellow lab and one's a chocolate lab, the chocolate lab's going to be harder to find a home for.
technically, although labs, labs are labs. Labs go pretty quick. They're
Yeah, I
warm,
imagine
fuzzy,
labs.
they're easy. Things like
Goldens go fast, I'm sure, right?
Pit
Yeah.
bulls are the toughest. We've got a lot of pit bulls.
Mm.
So if you're black and pit bulls, of course, it comes with that stigma, and it is really
Yeah.
extremely sad because it's way, way overblown. In fact,
Way. Yeah.
when I first started working at the shelter, to be honest, I had only met maybe a couple of pit bulls. I didn't know anything about them. I mean, very, very quickly, by far, they're my favorite breed in the shelter. They're just pretty much across the board the most social, loving, biggest
Goofy.
lap dog.
They're the goofiest. Like
They're
they love to
goofy.
make you laugh, and yeah, they love that kind of stuff. Like yeah, they turn into the hey, you looking at me? You looking at me? Yeah, you
Oh
looking at
yeah.
me? Yeah, they're turned into
Oh
that
yeah.
person
I
so
have
quick.
my favorite buddy. I'll give a little pitch to Apollo. A beautiful, beautiful, big brindle pitty mix.
Mm.
Just the sweetest, most incredible dog. I take him out every morning. That's part of my anti-stress routine. In the morning, I'll start off with a
Love it.
cup of tea and then go take some dogs out to the dog park before I jump into my emails. And Apollo was out there this morning, and he's the best fetcher in the building, and toss that tennis ball, and he's just the look on his face when I pull out that ball and start tossing it. And he's running, and he can jump 5 feet high, and he comes back and he drops it at your feet, and he would do it for probably an hour if you let him.
Wow.
And that goes back to the whole concept. I keep talking about canine enrichment, but the point is that enrichment goes both ways.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
enrichment for the dog,
absolutely.
but the same thing for people. And you can show that if you need the proof, there's scientific studies, but people's cortisol levels go down when they're around animals, when they're petting cats and dogs, bonding with them. So it's definitely a win-win.
Yeah.
I can absolutely talk the lavender thing. So we got our dog from a neighbor who believed that animals should be chained up in your yard. They're lawn ornaments, not pets. Anyway, so we got Dak, and out through his puppyhood, he was outside during 4th of July and thunderstorms and things like that. So those things like really freak him out. Lavender has been a huge part of our arsenal now, just like one good drop on the scruff of his neck where he can't get to it, and he mellows out, and my house smells great. And
yeah, that's a good point. And again, living in northern New Mexico, as I discovered when I moved here, it can be pretty traumatic for dogs, especially during monsoon season. All those thunderstorms, and holy smokes! Another great thing, just tossing it out there, are those thunder coats. I don't know if you've seen or heard of those, but they're kind of a tight-fitting, thin, essentially a sweater. And actually, that physical comfort of the physical support on their body can do wonders for not just for dogs traumatized by thunder and loud noises, but just for shy dogs in general.
Right.
Arnold Schwarzenegger works too. We'll put on 4th of July. We'll put on an Arnold marathon and a couple of drops of lavender, and then what's going on in the house. And also the thing we learned with him was if we did the oh baby kind of thing, it got worse.
Yep,
but
exactly.
If we do the whole woohoo, all right, you're doing great. Then he goes, damn right I am. That's right.
Right.
Because I'm a big dog. I'm not feeling great right now, but I'm a big dog. I'm doing good. It goes back and forth, but you can't do the pity party because he doesn't do the pity party. But
yes, thank you for bringing that up. That is hugely important. That's one of the biggest things I impress upon volunteers is that, and again, I'm focusing on dogs here because that's our biggest need. But with dogs, the very most important thing is your vibe, essentially, your energy, how you conduct yourself, how you convey yourself. Because like you said, yeah, if you go into a kennel and you see this dog and, oh, you poor thing, yeah, it's just like people, then yeah, it rubs off on them. So a good positive attitude, so very important.
Yep. Yeah. Well, Tony,
and just want to mention, for volunteering, if people out there are interested, there's a couple things. We've got all these opportunities, and once you sign on as a volunteer, you'll have access to see our list of our calendar of opportunities and shifts and things. But as far as dog walking and working with dogs, there's a couple options. One is we've got a canine enrichment class. So both these activities, you need to attend a short, fun, informative class before you begin. You can do canine enrichment. So if you don't want to necessarily work with dogs and you're not comfortable walking dogs on trails or out in play yards, you can simply sign up for enrichment, and we'll show you how to distribute things like I talked about, the stuffed Kongs, the aromatherapy. Just walk around the floor and meet dogs and give them enrichment items and get a lot of licks. fantastic opportunity. Also, the Canine Walker program, again, short, fun, informative class. Just sign up. You'll learn it's mainly just dealing with the flow of the shelter, to make sure everyone's going in the right direction, how to harness dogs, how to read body language, things like that. But the cool thing is we don't have any kind of minimums or requirements or anything after that. You come in, you take the class. After that, you're pretty much free to come in any day, anytime, and come in. Once you have the class, come in the shelter, say good morning to everybody, say good afternoon, go in the break room, grab your leash, your apron, all your dog treats, your poop bags, go find your favorite furry buddy, and off you go.
Don't forget the poop bags, people.
Don't forget the poop bags. Yes. It would get pretty ugly if we skip that part out.
Yeah.
And I do.
I worked as a ranger at a and part of it was a dog park, and boy, there was nothing like writing a $250 ticket to somebody who wouldn't pick up their dog poop. They let them poop and they're like, "We're not in the park. We're in the parking lot." Gee,
oh, come on,
really?
Thanks. Here's your ticket.
It's like common sense, right? Responsible dog ownership, but
right.
It happened.
Yeah.
But I do want to toss out one thing, because again, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I realize you guys are a business podcast, so I do want to and I'm not in the business of business, but I do want to toss out just a couple of benefits to you business owners on why you and or your employees should be volunteering at the shelter. Just a couple of stats I looked up, and not surprising at all, but 90% of U.S. consumers trust brands that support social causes, leading to your increased sales and higher revenue. So it's good for your profit. People, especially again, Santa Fe, they love animals, and if they see you helping out animals, it's natural they're going to steer toward you and your business. Also, interesting statistic, 89% of American workers believe that organizations involved in volunteering programs offer a better working environment and had an improved perception of their employer. So again, we talked about retention earlier. Obviously an issue for business as well. You recruit these people, you want to keep your good people. This is a great tool to get them engaged and fired up and behind you. There are a couple things I want to toss out too. If as a business, I love doing group volunteer events.
I was just going to say, a great team building event, right? Yep. Like take the whole company and go spend a day bonding together with dogs. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah. I get rave reviews. I do this all the time. People come in. Generally, we can tailor it to the business and the people and stuff. But generally, I give a brief talk on the shelter, kind of tell them what we're about, and then I go back and we have a little meet and greet with our dogs. Walk around the adoptions floor and open kennel doors. And hey, Roscoe. Hey, Lucy. You can dog can treat. And then the most important part is socialization. Again, it's very important these dogs see and interact with people, especially some of our shyer dogs or our newer dogs who come in. They might be a little shut down. They might be kind of shy. I can walk around the adoptions floor right now, and I pretty much know every single dog. I work with every single dog, so I can stick my head in, and they all jump up, and they're wagging, and hey, Tony, wow, you're going to take me to the dog park. You give me treats. I love you. That feels great, very heartwarming, but we want that same reaction with every single person who comes in. So when guests come in to look for a dog, we want that same reaction. And that's where these group events come in. So if we can, what I'll do is actually shuttle dogs out. We've got 6 play yards right next door. I can shuttle dogs out to play yards. Volunteers go in, tennis balls, toys, off-leash play. Dogs run around, meet the people meet the dogs. It's a great time, and again, people just have a blast. So please, if you're interested, reach out to me. We can definitely set something up.
All right.
Put that back up again. So it's sfhumanesociety.org.
Excellent. Yeah, just go to that, and you'll see in the top right there'll be a big button that says volunteer. Click on that, and that will shoot you over to all it involves. You just have to spend literally like 2 minutes filling out a quick volunteer application. Really, really simple. And then after that, again, you'll be in our system. You'll have access to all the opportunities we have, and we have a lot. I also want to point out that volunteers, get all sorts of perks. One great thing, we've got an amazing volunteer liaison now, Barbara Lehner, and she teaches classes probably like 3 days a week now. So aside from the basic dog walking class, a couple things. One, we do essentially color code our dogs. So we want to make sure volunteers are matched up with dogs they're comfortable with. We don't want to put some newbie, maybe elderly, frail person out on the trail with a 60-pound pulling pit bull. All our
Right.
dogs are totally friendly and stuff, but still they can be dangerous. So we make sure we match our dogs.
Nobody
to the right
flapping behind like a
volunteers,
flag. Yeah.
right?
Not
But we do
good.
offer classes. If you want to work with more challenging dogs, we've got class for the more rambunctious, stronger dogs. We've got a class for the really shy, shut down dogs, showing people how to interact, how to get them on leash, how to best read body language to determine that. We also give classes, for example, on canine behavior, how canines learn, how to read body language. We also do classes on dog fights, how to prevent them, what to do if you witness one, you're involved in one, emergency situations. We have a whole host of classes every
You
single
guys are
week. They're
amazing.
totally
Sounds like
free
an
for
amazing
volunteers.
place.
I know. I'm totally amazed.
I am. I'm like, I've never heard any of this from a shelter before. So
Yeah.
Well, you should come out and experience
congratulations.
it yourself.
Wow.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah. Wow. Just thank you so much, Tony. I mean, it just for enlightening us and enlightening all of our listeners.
Love that what you're doing. Yeah. It's just,
Yeah.
I
Fantastic.
think the best shelter in the nation. Yeah, I'm thinking you guys are on track for that, because that's like a
Yay.
whole lot of
Yeah.
holistic thinking you've got going there, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and again, it all comes down to both staff and volunteers. The staff here, that's
Right.
again why I'm working here. Right? I met the staff and saw the resources, and like, wow, these people really, really care. And the volunteers, we all get along great. We're all in this for the same reason, the compassion business, and
Aw.
we love what we're doing, and I think it shows, and that's the important thing.
Yeah. And not to discount all the other wonderful organizations who are out there doing a lot of hard work, because we know most shelters, if not all, are overwhelmed right now. And everybody needs help. But if you want to volunteer for the Santa Fe Humane Society, contact Tony through their website, sfhumanesociety.org. And
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Thank you, Tony, so much
Yes,
for
thank
coming
you.
and talking to us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity again, because I know this is a business podcast, and at first, it's probably some people are like, what the heck is this guy doing on talking about dogs?
Well, it's business too. I mean, it's gotta, it's run like a business too. You gotta, yeah, it's great.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
most
yeah, please check out the website, hit that volunteer button, sign up.
Yep.
And if you have any questions, you'll have my email. That's my job, is to deal with questions, issues, anything you have. You're never bugging me. So please do that. And I hope to see you at the shelter real soon, folks.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
Tony.
Tony. Thanks to all the listeners. I'm Pam Myers, your host, my lovely co-host, Erica Yoakum. Thank you so much for listening.